Well, everyone, it's time for us to go and take a look at the iPhone Air and compare it against the iPhone 15 Pro Max and see which particular iPhones are the better ones for you. Now, the thing I can definitely tell you about these particular iPhones is that they're both very interesting. They both share and have a lot of cool things going on between them. But the big thing to keep in mind here is that if you're looking at these types of, iPhones, you have to remember that the iPhone Air is a little bit of a different design than the 15 Pro Max. So kind of keep that in mind. Now, if you want to pick up either one of these particular iPhones, links will be down in the description below. You can get them from there and you can help support the channel at the exact same time. Now, starting off with the outside of both these particular iPhones. The iPhone 15 Pro Max came out back in 2023. And with this particular iPhone, you're basically getting a 6.7-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display on the front side. And that right there is a really good, decent type of display to have inside of an iPhone. Like, this thing is giving you a pretty good experience from that particular situation. And if you're going to go through and pick up a device, you're definitely going to be getting a good type of experience. It's an always-on display, ProMotion, dynamic island. So there's a lot of really nice things going on for that type of panel. So if you're in the market, like I stated before, you're definitely going to be getting a pretty good type of experience from that type of device. Again, maybe not perfect, but it's still going to be really good for a lot of people. With the iPhone Air, this one is going to be giving you a 6.5-inch Super Retina XDR OLED display. So this one is going to be slightly smaller than something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max. But there's a couple of things to keep in mind here too. Number one, with an iPhone Air, this one is giving you, a ProMotion display, still pretty much the same thing there. It's giving you a really good experience when it comes down to its dynamic island and things like that. One big thing though is that it is giving you 3000 nits of peak brightness. So the fact that that type of device is giving you 3000 nits of peak brightness from that particular situation is something that's really nice. It's a really, really cool thing to have. And if you're in the market and you're going to go through and pick up a device, that right there is a really nice thing to have. So without a doubt, if you're picking up a particular panel and you're getting a phone, that is going to be a really nice thing to have from that particular situation, which I think is something that's really cool. So from that side, that is in and of itself another really cool thing to keep in mind there as well. Now, when you're looking at both these devices, they're both giving you USB Type-C ports on the bottom, which is always a really nice thing to have if you're going to go through and pick up a phone. That right there is going to be a very crucial part of basically buying any phone in today's standards. And you're also going to be able to maintain still pretty good experiences between both as well. There is not too much to hate here on these types of phones because they're both still giving you a pretty good type of experience. But I will say the design of the iPhone Air is a little bit different because you are getting that camera bump all throughout the back, where the 15 Pro Max is kind of pushed out in the top left. They're both giving you MagSafe and all those other things too. But I would imagine that if you're trying to go through and pick up a device, you're probably going to be getting an overall better feeling, more flagship feeling device from something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max. Although with the iPhone Air, you are getting that camera button, which some people might actually end up preferring. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. Now, on top of that, another really important aspect to keep in mind here too is that with devices like this, you're also still going to be able to maintain, their price tags. The iPhone 15 Pro Max, as of this point, is basically going to cost you about, in the used market, probably around $800 to $700. So significantly cheaper than what it used to cost. In fact, you could probably get it even cheaper than that. Whereas with something like an iPhone Air, this phone is going to cost even cheaper than that. It's going to be it's going to be more expensive than that. The iPhone Air is retailing for about $1,000 right now. So that is going to be a pretty expensive price to pay for a device like this. So once again, if you're in the market and you're going to go through and pick up a device, you're definitely going to be spending a bit more money on something like an iPhone Air, for sure, than an iPhone, 15 Pro Max in this particular situation. But things can change, maybe the iPhone Air will depreciate faster, who knows? But as of this point, that's kind of what it's looking like right now. Now, when it comes down to the cameras, they're both giving you, still good sensors for the most part. The iPhone 15 Pro Max is giving you a triple camera setup on the backside. The iPhone Air is giving you a single camera setup. And that right there is probably one of the biggest downsides or one of the biggest weird areas of something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max. I feel with the iPhone Air. The iPhone Air, for it having a single camera setup for $1,000 phone now, is very weird. It's giving you 1x and 2x zoom, where the iPhone 17 Pro Max is giving you 0.5x all the way up to about 5x zoom. So that right there is also going to be a massive difference. So if you're going to go through and pick up a device once again, you are going to, for sure, you're going to be able to get a better type of device from something like an iPhone 17, from something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max than an iPhone Air. So when it comes down to that side, if you're trying to go through and get a device that's giving you a better experience, the iPhone Air is going to be the one that is going to be good. It's still going to be giving you center stage and dual capture on the front and the back, but the iPhone 15 Pro Max is going to be the one that is going to be giving you a significantly better experience in almost every single way. So kind of keep that in mind. Again, it depends how you look at it, but if I'm looking at it the way I usually do, it's something like the iPhone, 15 Pro Max is probably going to be better. When it comes down to software longevity, this is also going to be another big takeaway. If you're trying to, once again, get the phone that's going to be lasting longer, this one is definitely going to be from something like an iPhone 15, from something like an iPhone Air. The iPhone Air is going to be the one here that is going to be lasting for a longer period of time. So once again, that is going to be a really nice thing. I love being able to go through and buy a device and have it last for like a long period of time. So something like the iPhone 15 Pro Max, that is going to be a really good experience from that particular situation. So, I enjoy it, but it's only going to be better by like 2 years barely. So if that's a big deal to you, then, that's awesome. But if it's not a big deal to you, I still think you're going to have a pretty good time with something like an iPhone, 15 Pro Max. And that is still going to be supported with software for many, many years now. So I definitely want that to kind of be something you think about too, because it's not really as crazy big of a difference as you may, expect it to be. Now, when it comes down to their battery life, the iPhone Air is basically said to be giving you a roughly around, I think it's like 29 hours of video playback or 27 hours of video playback. The 15 Pro Max is said to have about 29 hours of video playback. So that right there is also going to be a very big difference. And if you're going to go through once again and pick up a device, you are probably going to be getting an overall better type of experience from something like an iPhone, 15 Pro Max from a battery life perspective than the iPhone Air. When it comes down to performance, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is going to be giving you about the A17 Pro chipset with 8GB of RAM, where the iPhone Air is giving you the A19 Pro chipset inside with 8GB of RAM as well. So if you're going to go through and pick up a device, you are definitely going to, once again, be able to go through and buy a device on the iPhone Air that is going to be faster. It's going to be giving you an overall better experience, but the differences are going to be so marginal that I just don't even think it's like a big, massive difference or a big deal for you to even go ahead and kind of compare, if that makes sense. Like, I feel like you're still getting a really good experience from something like an iPhone Air and an iPhone 15 Pro Max, but the differences are so like marginal that I wouldn't upgrade just because of the performance. Like, I'll probably just put it that way. There's a lot of other things if you want to upgrade to, then do it. But the way I'd kind of synopsize this whole entire comparison is that with something like an iPhone 15 Pro Max, this type of, device, it just doesn't really make it doesn't make a lot of sense to upgrade from an iPhone 15 Pro Max to an iPhone Air because you're losing out on better battery life, a better camera, kind of better build quality. Like, I feel like the iPhone 15 Pro Max is probably like a better phone, in my opinion, than the iPhone Air from a dollar per value standpoint. If the 15 Pro Max costs you less than $800, especially if it costs you less than $700, that is a really, really good phone to buy. An iPhone Air is cool because it's kind of small and it's like thin, but it's not a small phone. It still is like a big phone. It's giving you a brighter display, better camera features, kind of. And that's kind of like, it's better performance. It's going to be a longer lasting phone, but I don't really feel like that's a phone for me per se when I have to spend $1,000 on it. If they were the same price, then I'd just say get the iPhone Air. But since they're not, the iPhone 15 Pro Max is definitely a better value than something like an iPhone Air. So from that side, that kind of covers it up there. If you have any other thoughts or questions, please let me know in the comment section below. Hit the like button, that'll mean so much, but definitely hit that subscribe button. More importantly than everything else, I love every single one of you guys. Hopefully I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace out till then.